Hey guys, welcome back to another video on the Qt framework. So in this video, I will teach you how to create this simple to-do app. So this is how it works. The UI is pretty simple and we can type something here. Let's say task 1 and we can click the add button to add it to the task list. And then we can add some more. If we want, we can remove something like that. And then we can add more like that. And then if we want, we can remove all. If I close this app now, everything here will be remembered the next time I open the file. So I will show you that. So if I open it, as you can see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and we can remove all and then close. And if I open it again, you will see that everything is gone. So that's how the application works. The UI is pretty simple and straightforward, but I really wanted to show you this because I wanted to teach some basic things you can use in Qt, like the process of creating some application like this one. So without any further ado, let's get started. So I will close this application and then let's create a new project inside Qt Creator. So this will be a Qt Widgets application. Also, if you don't have Qt Creator installed, I highly recommend you to watch the previous video where I go through the installation process step by step, and you can set up your installation pretty easily and then learn about creating a new project and stuff. So I will just go through these steps quickly to save you some time. If you don't know, you can watch that video. So I will choose this one and we can give a name to our project. I will say to-do app Qt tutorial. Okay. So I will click next, finish. Now the application is created. Now we can go to the forms and double click on main window.ui, and then I will remove the menu bar and the status bar. I don't need those. And I will resize the form a little bit like this. And then I will add a line edit like that. I will place it right here. I'll drag it like this. And then we need a push button. And then I will place it right here like this. And now we need list widget. So I will drag and drop it like that. Not the list view, we need list widget. So we can resize it like this. And then I will copy this button and paste it, Control C, Control V, and then I will place it like that. I will need to change the texts of these. So this one will be remove, this one remove all. And also I will change the names of these items. So this one will be txt task, this one will be vtn add, and this one will be vtn remove, and this one will be vtn remove. Okay, we don't need to change the name of the list widget. It's pretty self-explanatory. So now this is the UI. Now we need to create slots, or basically event handlers, for these buttons. So I will right click on the button and go to slot and click on clicked and press OK. And I will do the same thing for the other two buttons as well. Like that. Now the event handlers are created and now we can get started with the coding part. So we will first code the add button. So basically we need to think what we need to do when the user clicks on the add button. So what should happen when the user clicks on the add button? So basically it should grab the text from the txt task text box, and then it should place it in the list box as an list item. So we can write q list widget item, and so we are going to create it using the new keyword. And here it requires two arguments which are going to be the source for the item. So for that we will type like this. So this will take the text from the text box which is inside the UI and pass it to this function or method, and then we can type like this. So before I explain this line of code, I will show you how I know it. So basically what we are doing here is we are creating a new Q list widget item. So as you saw earlier, we added a list widget into our form, and this is going to be a list widget item. How did I know this? So basically we can open our browser. What we need is to create an item inside list widget box. So I will type something like this. So I will type Qt list widget item like that. And then it will give me the results like this, Qt list widget item. So basically, I know that is going to be a list widget item. So I will search that on Google and it will give me this page, which is the documentation. And here we have what we wrote. So basically, the syntax is we need to pass some text for the item, and then we can pass the parent for this list widget item. So in this case, the parent is the list widget and the text is the text from the text box. So we will create an item based on those information. And now we can basically add this item to our list widget. So I'll write UI list widget add item. So what I need to do is add an item. So I will start typing add and then it will give add item. And now we can pass the item like this. So it will put this item inside the list widget. So let's run the application and see if it works. Okay, so now we will type something here like this. And as you can see, it gets add. And we can type some more and yeah, it works. There are some other things we need to do here as well. First, we need to clear the text box. So after the user added the item to the list, we don't need that in the text box. So this is just some user experience thing. So we can clear the text box to make it easier for the user to add the next item. So we will type UI txt task and then clear like that. So what I need to do is clear. So I will type clear and it works. And then I will also write something like this. So this is going to be txt task set focus. So what this does is it will set the focus to the text box after we click on the add button. So I will show you what I mean. So earlier when I click on the add button, I can't start typing immediately and it won't appear on the text box. But now since the focus is set to the text box, after I type something here, I can keep typing like this. So if I remove these two items or even this one, and if I run the application, you will see that I cannot do that. I will have to manually click on the text box. So I will type something here. And as you can see, even if I type, it won't be added to the text box. So I will have to click here and then click add to do that. So that's why I put this line here. There's another thing we can do right now. We can type something like this. We can say set flags and then items flags item is editable. So item flags. Okay. So what this does is it says to the Qt framework that the item, the so-called item in the list widget is an editable item. So when the user double clicks on the item, Qt will render a new line edit right there. So I will first show you what this does. So let's run the application. Now let's add an item like this. And now if I double click on the item, it will render a new line edit widget on the item. And then it will give us the chance to edit the item. So I can type something like this. And if I press enter or click somewhere else, it will apply the changes and the item is edited. So this is why I love Qt, because these widgets are well thought out and they have been developed and matured throughout years. So something like the list box in WinForms does not have this ability. Qt does. If I double click on this, it will give me the chance to edit that. And I will show you that you cannot do that without this line. So I will comment that and run the application. So let's add something. And now if I double click on this, it does not work. So this line is allowing us to make the item editable. So actually I found this entirely on Stack Overflow. So how I came across this is I was just browsing in this UI section. And in this list box, go to the filters and type edit. You will see that there is something called edit triggers. And that's what made me think, what if the items are editable? So, and then I double clicked on this list widget randomly. And then I saw this plus mark and I added some items like this. And then if I go to the properties of these items, I can see that there is something called editable. We can check that right here. So this means there must be a way for us to actually do this through code. So I went to Google and searched list widget edit item queued, and this gave me this result. So actually, not this result, but this one. So the question is actually in Python, but it works. So here, as you can see, we have this item.setFlags thing. So I wrote that in C++ like this. So it should be item, and since this is a pointer, we should have this arrow operator, and then we can say set flags, and then I literally copied this from here. Actually, I had to change a little bit. So I pasted it, and I know this is not the way to access it, so this must be like this. And then I removed this, and Qt actually gave me a suggestion to use it like this. Okay, what this does is it will add a so-called flag to this item. So this is the binary O operator. So this will just add this one to the existing list of flags that this item has, and it will add this one, which is this item is going to be editable, and it will add to the flags section. Now we can edit the item by double clicking on it. Actually, that's it for this add button. Now we can move to the remove button. This is also something I found in Stack Overflow. So I'm saying this because sometimes you get overwhelmed thinking that the people you see on YouTube quote everything from their memory, but they do not. All the time we are Googling, and then we are using Stack Overflow to find answers. And the best thing about something like Qt is that it is really mature. So because of that, almost every problem you face has already been asked and also solved by some other people. So you can just Google and you will find the answer for your problem. So to remove an item, we can create a list widget item again. So we can type q list widget item. I will say item equals. Now I will type UI list widget and take item. So this will take an item from the list widget. So I will say UI list widget and current row. So what this will do is it will basically take the item from the current row of the list widget. So you could also type current item, but for some reason it did not work. So that's why the code was like this from Stack Overflow. So what you are doing is basically you are creating a new item based on this item. So the current row, which means the thing you have selected right now. And it will grab the item from that row and create a new item, actually create a pointer to that item. So basically we are having the memory address saved in a variable right here. So now we can use delete to delete that item, because this is just a memory address, and now we can delete the things in that memory address. So this is a pretty easy way to do this. There might be some other ways to do it as well. So this is the easiest way I found. So what we can do is basically we can grab the memory address from the selected or the current item from the list widget, and then we can delete everything in that memory address, and then the item will be gone. So I will implement this remove all button, and then I'll run the application and I will show you the function. So this one is actually pretty easy. You can just type UI list widget and clear. So this will clear the list widget. So I will run the application and I will show you how this works. Now we can type something like this, add. Also, as you can see, it adds empty items as well. So if I just keep on clicking add, it will add some empty items. So you can implement some logic to check whether something is written in the text box, and then you can add the item only if it is not empty. So that's something for you to work out, because otherwise you won't try coding this out yourself, because you have to code this by yourself to learn these concepts. I'm leaving that to you. So as you can see, we have some items. So I will just click on this and I will click remove, and then I can keep clicking remove and it will remove the selected row just like that. And if I wanted to remove everything, I can just click remove all. Okay. So everything so far works, but there are some problems, which are the application cannot remember the list of our to-do tasks. So if the application is closed, all the tasks are gone, and that is not a good thing for a to-do list app. So as you can see, I will run the application, and we can add some tasks. And if I close the application, all of those tasks are gone because we didn't save them anywhere. So what I will do is basically I will use the constructor and the destructor of the main window to write these functions. So in the constructor, after we set up the UI, we can call a function or just write some code so that the application can load all the text from a text file saved in the user's hard drive or something else. So for this, we can type something like this. So what we need to do is we need to read a file. So we can use the QFile library for this. So I will type QFile and then I will say file, and then I need the path for this file. Let me just copy that because it is actually not that really useful. So we can copy this. Now it's giving me some errors, so I will first fix them. So we need to include the header files for these libraries. So I will say include QFile and then include QStandard paths. And now the errors should be gone. Now, what this does is it will actually open a file from this location. So the location is actually, it is going to give us the documents folders location. We cannot actually hard code the path to our application because sometimes the user's documents folder might be different from the one we have in our mind. So if I say like C users and my username is, this is Malindu, so this is Malindu and documents, it won't work on your computer because the path is hard-coded and you don't have a folder code. This is Malindu. And when you are going to other platforms like Linux and macOS, because Qt is cross-platform, it won't work either. So we need to use some sort of library to do this. So we have this one. We have the QStandardPaths class, and from that we can take the documents location and use that for our path. So this is how we do that. We say QStandardPaths writable location. Now again, this is something I found on Stack Overflow. I'm saying this honestly because that's how I work. I don't remember anything. I just Google them and find them. I mean, I remember some things, otherwise I cannot make any program. But yeah, that's how I work. So I will say QStandardPaths writable location, and then QStandardPaths documents location, and then we can append this part, which is just the file name. And this will create a file object based on this location. We need to open this file. So this is how you can do that. I will copy this one as well because again, I copied this from Stack Overflow, but I will explain everything for you. So we are basically using an if condition to check whether this gives off an error. So we will open the file, and this is some permission thing. We have to write QIO device read write. So this is a special permission. This allows us to create the file if it does not exist. So basically, when the user opens this application for the first time, there won't be a file called todofile.txt for the application to access and save the to-do items. So what we are doing basically here is that with this permission, we are saying that if the file is not already in the location, you have to create it. And if it is, just use the file. So if this gives true, then everything is gone correctly. If it gives false, we can show a message to the user. So this 0 is just the parent window, which is the window, the main window of our application, and 0 means that. And we have the message box's title, and then we have the message or the actual text of the message box. So it's going to be file.error string. This will give the error string of the error that was caused by something. And again, it's saying that this is not included, so I will include that. So let's type #include q message box like that. Okay. Now, after that, we need something like this. We need a q text stream. So what this does is it creates a text stream, just like we can use the IOStream library, the standard C++ library, to create a stream. So we have the cout object by default and the cin object. This is also something like that. So we are calling it in because we are going to read from this file, and later I will type out. Actually, they don't have to be those exact words. I can just type file in or something like that. I'm just typing in. So this one will read the file and grab the data from the file and place them in the list box or the list widget. So we are creating a text string using the file, just passing the file's memory address, and then we can use a while loop. So what we are doing is we are checking whether we are at the end of the file or the stream, basically the file. So until we reach the end of the file, we need to keep reading the file line by line. So how do we do that? We read line just like that. So what we are doing here is basically we are creating an item based on each line from this text string, and we are just using the same syntax we used here. We are creating a QList widget item just like that. We have it right here, but in this case we are using the text stream instead of the text box. Now we have the item, and now we can copy these two lines from here and paste them right here, because all we have to do is, now that we have the item, we can place it in the list widget, and also we can set the flags so that the item is editable. So that's all we have to do here. And then we need to close the file, because otherwise we cannot access it later, because it will say that the file is already in use by this application, because we are going to use the same file at the end of the application to write the changes. So because of that, first we need to close it here before using it somewhere else. So we have said file.close. Pretty simple stuff. So if I go through this again, we are creating a file object based on this location, and we're just opening the file. So this is basically to say that we need to create the file if it does not exist, and if it exists, just open the file. And then we will create text stream based on the file. And while we have not reached the end of the file or the text stream, we will read each line from the text stream or the file, and then we can create an item based on that information, and then we will place those items in the list widget, and then we can set the flags to make it editable, and then finally we have to close the file. Okay, so that's how you load things from the file. Now all that's left is to save the file when the application is closed. So for that, we can just use the destructor of the main window. So I will type something like this. So I will just copy all of these, and because most of it is going to be the same, so this is the same, we need to create a file, and then we can open that file and use this permission thing. And here I will say, let's say out, to make it easier for us to read the code. And then I'll just remove this while loop, and instead of that, what we need to do is actually grab the text from the list widget of each items and then pass it to this stream so that it can write to the file. So for that, we can type a for loop actually. So I will say for loop, and then we can say I, and I less than UI list widget count. So this will give us the number of items in the list widget. And then we can say in here, we can, just like how we use cout or cin, we can say instead of cout, we are just using out here. So it's actually pretty simple. So we can say out, and we can use these operators to pass that information into the out object. So we can say UI list widget item. So in this case, I'm going to say item, and I will pass I. So this will give us the ith element or the item from the list widget. Okay, and then I will say text, and this will give the text of that item. We don't need the whole item. We need only the text to save the file. So we can say like that. And then also I will add a new line character, because remember, we are reading line by line when we are opening the application. So because of that, we need to save all these items line by line as well. So after that, it's also done. Now we can say just file close, and I will go through this again so that you can understand it better. So we are creating a file just like before based on this path. Actually, you can just, copy this one, put it in a variable. So I will show you it really quickly. So let's copy that and go to main window.h, and under private, I will say, let's say QString, because this is not going to be just a string. This is going to be a QString. And I will say path, and let's do this. And we have to include those header files here as well. Q standard paths, and then also, yeah, that's it. So now we can just use this path variable like that. Okay, so we can do the same thing here as well, so that if we ever decide to change the path, we can change it right here. Okay, and of course you can just grab all of these and put them into their own functions, but right now I'm not going to do that because that's not the point of this video. So that's it. So now let's run the application and see whether if it works. So let's run the application, and now I will say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and some letters. Now we can edit. Okay, now we can remove all, and I will just add these items again. And now if I close this application, all of that is going to be saved in this location, this to-do file.txt. Actually, let me show you that. I will open this and to-do file text, and as you can see, we have our to-do items. And now I can actually run the application, and as you can see, everything is here. So we have these items, and let's say I close this one and I added some more like this. So basically we can edit the text file manually to add some items. So you can introduce this feature saying that you can import bulk items from another app and just open in the text file and letting the user paste all of those items line by line. So basically
it's a feature, not a bug.
We have to save the file and we can close it, and then when we run the application, all of those items will be reflected in this application. And again, if you want to distribute this application, you can do as I showed in the previous video. You can use the deploy tool to add the missing files and also copy the DL files I have provided, and then you can share this application with your friends or just use it for yourself. So you can also modify this one. You can look up styles, cute styles, and do stuff to these elements. You can customize everything in this application. You can change the colors of everything. You can change the look and feel of everything. I have some exercises for you. The first one is you can check whether the item is empty. So if I click add, an empty item will be added just like that. We don't need that. So you have to check whether the item is empty. Now, right now, you can only select one item. I cannot hold Control or Shift to select multiple items. You can implement that feature. You can make it so that the user can select multiple items, and then when the user clicks remove, then those items that they have selected will be removed, not just one item. Okay, so there are some things you can do to improve this application. So this is just the starting point for you, and I hope you learned some things. We learned about how to open a file and read from it like this, and then we learned how to write to a file, and then also we learned about these flags thing, and also how to Google. Actually, that's really important, because when you don't know something, you can just Google, because Qt is really mature and everything is there. I think that's it for this video, and I will see you in another video with some application like this. And I really believe, other than just teaching you item by item, like I'm not going to make videos for textbooks and button like separate videos. Instead, I'm just going to show you how to use those things practically inside applications, so that you have the inspiration to start and create your own application and just Google stuff and find everything you need for that application. Otherwise, you will be just looking at tutorials all day. So if you have any problem, you can join the Telegram group and send a message, leave a comment, and also give this video a like. And I will see you in the next video. Make sure to subscribe, and thank you for watching. Bye for now.